Texas Fish Command back in the house, wrapping up the Guad project November, and here we are sitting at Bo's house, Texas Fish Command meeting, thinking about what we're going to do next. We had a whole list of plenty of things to do. Someone came up with the name Project Scream, and that was due to some screaming reels, and the only thing to go do that and get it on a daily basis all day long would be going to the saltwater. So December we had our meeting to finalize things and where we were going, how we were going to approach it, what we're going to do, who we're going to see. We decided we were going to take 2 trips, one weekend in January, one weekend in February, and see what we can do. I myself am converted bass fisherman from saltwater, and Port O'Connor was like a second home for me. So I wanted to get these guys out where I go and kill it all the time. Remember that kill it part, because that's going to come up in a minute. So Port O'Connor, we decided to hit up on our own, me, Chico, and Bo, the first weekend in January. I get off work on a Friday, and we head straight out there. Bo and Chico met me at my house, which is a little bit further south of Austin, which puts them, in the good timing to get there and without traffic. So we meet up, we load up, we hop in my truck, we fill up gas, and we make our journey back roading it all the way down to Port O'Connor.
Yeah. The amount of planning that goes into a trip like this just to get out and film. I mean, if you go fishing, it's one thing. But if you go out and filming, it's a whole other thing, because it's, lights, cameras, electronic stuff you have to deal with. And you couple that with cold fronts that come in every weekend, then they turn into very wet cold fronts. We get down to the coast and it's just fog, thick fog. I mean, I like that neutral light, but when it's wet, you can't keep the cameras clean, everything's getting wet, and it takes about 3 or 4 minutes and you've got to clean your lens again. You've got to dry the lens off, which is a nightmare because I clean these things with cotton swabs, so we get out and do it.
We got there a few hours after the sun went down, and immediately started taking our plan, which changed on the way down there, and that was due to the weather that was coming in. Lots of rain, lots of cold, so changed up a little bit, changed up some baits. We had the fly rods we really wanted to get introduced out there too, but we as well have conventional setups just to make sure we could get something for Project Scream going from the start.
I mean, pretty much when we get out and do these, it's my job to get it on film. So that's what I need to prep and be ready to do. So that's what my worries are. I look at weather. So people could talk about how good something's going to be, and I want the light to be good. So it's really rough when it doesn't happen. It kind of shoots the filming down really quick.
So we get all comfy. Chico brings his RV. We got the trailers loaded up. We get to where we're going to stay. Make a few cocktails, have a little bit of dinner, and just talking about saltwater fishing, previous stories from our past, and immediately we're ready to go. Like we don't even want to wait till the morning. We want to go get in the water. So bedtime. We wake up early. It's freezing cold outside. It's raining. We're toughing it out. We're going. Texas Fish Command, by any means necessary. That's our goal. That's what we strive by. So we're going for it. We get to the water. It looks good. There's not too many people hanging out around. We get there a little early in the dark to launch and get across the ship channel before all the boats start running, which really didn't need to do, because the weather kind of keep all the boats off. But we get there, we're setting up. Some people are coming to talk to us about our rigs and how many rods we had on our boat, what we were chasing after, how come we have so many video cameras. And that's always a good thing, because a lot of people don't understand what us as kayak anglers do and take with us to equip ourselves for good days on the water. The main thing is why do you guys have so many rods on your kayaks? I can't believe y'all can carry that many rods on your kayak. Well, you know, like all you already know, you gotta have something for every application on the water. After 2 conversations with some locals, guys with the bait shops, at the boat ramp shop, we make our journey out and start crossing the ship channel. Some big waves already in the morning, real early, some good wind. Again, remember, it's raining and it's freezing cold. It's literally in the mid to high 30s, and it's going to stay that way the whole day. We get to some back trails where I normally start off in Port O'Connor. And when I go to Port O'Connor, I fish pretty much, when I'm in the kayak, I fish pretty much the same trails through the marsh and the same drop-offs and the same open water every time I go, because it's always been productive for me, which is another reason why I pushed and pushed and pushed to get these guys down to Port O'Connor.
Well, you know, sometimes the curse of a trip is when somebody tells you, dude, I guarantee we're going to get on fish. When we got down there and we worked hard, we didn't get on any fish. But so goes it. It happens. The skunk's hard to take, though.
So we're in the back marshes. Start noticing, you know what? I see a lot of oyster beds. Not a good sign. That means tide is really low. One thing we did not do, which was bad on our part, was check the tide schedule. I've never had to worry about it before when I've gone. I've never been put in a situation where the tide was so low I really couldn't kayak anywhere. So immediately our backwater trails and marshes were out of the question. We head to some deeper water, open water, and we start coming across all these sandbars that I never knew even were there. And that had to do with the low tide. And it was extremely low. I mean, places I normally fish that were 7 to 8 foot deep were now like a foot deep or not even wet at all.
I mean, we're out there, the tide's low, those weekly conditions were really hard. They made it hard. But on our paddle out, man, sure enough, duck boats whizzing right by us, the airboats, and you know, I hate airboats, but okay, we keep going. And these guys were like, Bo's wanting to throw a fly rod, so okay, and he did. He pretty much only used a fly rod. I think that's all he took.
We decided we're gonna tough it out, you know, and just keep burning it, keep casting, seeing what we can do. We ended up catching a few little dink trout, a few little dink reds that weren't, I mean, they weren't gonna make the trip.
So the whole time I'm following behind these guys, the porpoises are coming up and they're tailing right behind them, and everywhere they cast they're going to blow it up. They're blowing it up. If there was fish in there, those dolphins had it. It was there. There was no fish in there. They were being chased out.
Day 1 was horrible. That weather really put a damper on everything. Morale was kind of low. No good fish to the boat. Freezing cold, wet. We head back to the ramp. Get all loaded up. Get back to the RV. Get all warm and cozy. Get some food in us, and start talking about what are we gonna do tomorrow. Let's look at the weather. Let's see what's gonna happen, and make our decision on what we're gonna do. We talked to a few guys at the RV park who told us another area to fish, which is Boggy Creek. Any of y'all that fish Port O'Connor will know what Boggy Creek is. They said the mouths of that were producing really good fish. So that was our plan. Day 2, Port O'Connor, trip 1 for Project Scream. We're going to Boggy Creek, we're fishing the mouths all day. We'll sit in the same spots all day, whatever it takes. We got to get some good fish to the boat. Ate our big dinner, had a few more drinks to get ready for bed, went to bed early to wake up early, just to notice that the weather we'd seen the night before for Sunday had drastically changed and for the worst. We had 30 to 40 mile an hour winds with gusts of 45 to 50, massive amounts of rain. It was, at this point, it was unsafe to be on the water, swell-wise, getting sick, gear getting too wet. Didn't want to take any chances of turtle in a kayak with hundreds of dollars worth of camera equipment, phones. So, unlike us, we decided to call the trip off.
No, there was nobody out there. I think we saw that one duck boat. It was just us. But sometimes it's Port O'Connor or bust. Sometimes it's bust. What can you say? We regroup, get our day in, get it done, lick our wounds, regroup.
We fished day 1, did not fish day 2, and decided we're going to lean on our second trip for Project Scream, which is going to be in the Corpus Christi area. Immediately started planning. We had 2 people in mind. That was Filip Spencer and Geoff and Carson Bashaw. Those guys know what they're doing, and we needed some fish for Project Scream. So it's February, first weekend in February. We're getting ready to go, moving to Corpus from Port O'Connor. We're gonna get on some fish. Again, lo and behold, we have some bad weather. Not so much cold, a little bit more water, rain, but we're going.
And it's a couple weeks go by, and we get down. Now we're gonna go down, do it again. This time, we're gonna spend 2 days down there, and this is a good one because we're gonna meet up with Filip Spencer and Jaun Kay on the first day and on the Saturday. Then the next day, we're gonna go and meet up with Geoff and Carson Bashaw. So that's pretty cool. We've got a pretty good one lined out. But sure enough, here we go with the weather pattern again. And I'll be darned if I'm not kidding you, it's the same exact weather pattern. Coming in on a Friday night, driving down. It's gonna be nasty, it's gonna get foggy. It's exactly what happened. We get down, bad weather.
Geoff has us set up in a really nice spot, right on the water in Corpus. 2 hotel rooms, really nice, where he guides out of, the Marina he guides out of. We get there, call Phil meets us, and I mean, we sat there for hours talking about a game plan for Saturday.
But here it is. You know, we're going to get down and do it. We've got great accommodations set up, so we go down and meet Captain Phil. Meet up with him. He meets us after we get down. And, man, go through the whole deal. He's setting us up on baits and spending some time with the guys, and we got a plan together.
Saturday morning, we decided we were going to go on a field spots over at Ingleside. Phil said it's going to fish real good. Got to start off a long paddle. I'm down for that. We're down for that. And that whole night talking with Phil, that guy knows so much stuff about saltwater. I couldn't even keep up. And I thought I knew a lot about saltwater, but that guy, I mean, 100 times more info than I could ever even imagine or even think about putting out there, or even thinking about while on the water. The notes he takes every single trip he's out. This is why we picked Phil for day 1. The guy knows his stuff. We wake up, weather's okay. We got a little bit of a wind, which is good. We got some mist. It's about the mid 40 degree mark, which isn't too bad. We make a good 45-minute drive over to meet Phil in Ingleside. We get to the launch, and you know Phil, he's already talking about the big fish we're going to catch today, and we embarked. And it is a long paddle, just like he said. We probably paddled a good 3 or 4 miles, got to a good spot, and it looked awesome. I mean, this spot he took us to, by looking at it, it looks so fishy. so beautiful, even in the bad weather. It was the spot. It was gonna happen that day. We were gonna make it happen that day, or we didn't have to worry about day 2. Just go have fun on day 2.
Sure enough, we get up in the morning, get out there. So we're out early, and I'm checking it out. I'm just hoping that we've got better light. Can't do much filming in the dark, so the paddle out's in the dark. We get all the way out there. It's totally foggy. The sun really never comes up. So here I am. Same conditions with the light, same deal with the fog. And I'll tell you what, that fog in salt water is really hard on equipment. It had already almost frozen up one of the cameras from the week before. So now I'm like, let's get out of this. The sun's got to come up. The saving grace this time is we were out with Captain Phil. And Captain Phil, in the worst conditions, he's going to get you on fish. And that's exactly what happened. Next thing you know, Bo's hitting fish. Small fish, they weren't that big, but he starts picking up some nice fish. As soon as he started throwing this one, I forgot what it was, I think it was a Miradine lure, boom, starts getting on him. So I've got some film. Now I'm getting my job done. I'm getting some content.
Right off the bat, we're catching good fish. I mean, not real big fish, but good fish. And that's considering our first trip to Port O'Connor, where it was just a bust. So it's looking good. We're getting fish to the boat. We're all getting fish to the boat, as a matter of fact. Trouts, reds, just left and right. We were throwing top waters, we were throwing belly weighted paddle tails, throwing some really nice shrimp on the fly. I mean, everything was working. We just weren't getting the size.
The good thing about a day like this is I'm getting people catching fish on film. Jaun Kay's catching fish, Phil's catching some fish, Bo's catching fish. Eric comes out of the fog, Eric starts catching fish. So here we are, it's a pretty good day. Nothing real big, but we were in those same really low light conditions. But in general, get out and have a pretty good day. We got out early to the morning, I think it was mid-afternoon, we head back. But sure enough, the sun had come up a little bit, and this turned into a raging thunderstorm. We saw it coming, and it hit us.
We're probably out there for about 3 or 4 hours. Lots of fish to the boat, and all of a sudden we turn over our right shoulder, and what do you know? Huge storm rolling in. Black clouds, black sky. You could see the wall of rain just coming from about a mile or 2 away. We decided, you know what? We got a long paddle back, so we're gonna turn around here and start heading back and get closer to where we launched at and fish around there. Hopefully, the rain will kind of go around us. We were about halfway back, and it was like it just pulled a stopper on it, man, and it was like someone was just dumping gallons of water on top of you. I mean, it was horribly big fat rain, a lot of big fat rain, soaking wet. I mean, my dry gear I was wearing, it was raining so hard the water, I was wet and my clothes underneath.
Sure enough, thunderstorm comes running up on us, and we see it coming. We're not quite to where we need to go, but just off to the side, maybe a half mile, we see some barges tied up. And Phil says, follow me. Paddles on out there, and that's what we do. Get up, gets us in between 2 barges tied straight up, and it was a really pretty good shelter from the storm. So I've got to remember that one. That was a good trick.
We found these 2 barges that were bumped, butt end to nose end, which made a nice little V hideout spot. So we kind of all snuck in there to get out of the rain for a little while. It's kind of creepy, if I have to be honest with you. You never know what's in salt water, what's around you in salt water, and we're under these barnacle-covered barges. Everything's sharp and edgy on the roof, and we're out of the rain though. So that worked out for a while. The rain only lasted for about 30 minutes once we got under there. We fished around a little bit more, caught some more decent fish. But at the end of the day, it still was not what we were looking for. At the end of the day, it was still bad weather that caused the issues of the good fish coming to the boat. Phil did his job, put us on some nice place, got us a bunch of fish to the boat, got us some good footage. The fog in the morning, the fog before the storm came in, provided excellent video and pictures. I mean, there's spots in there where you look at some pictures and it looks like you're floating just in a white cloud, with the reflection of the fog on the water, the fog behind you, the fog above you, around you, everywhere. You literally look like we're floating, and it was really good, picturesque spot to be at. Phil is a great dude. We really appreciate him taking us out for the day, showing us one of his secret spots, putting us on the fish that we did get. If anybody has anything, you need to hit up Filip Spencer. The dude will put you on them. So end of day 1, trip 2 for Project Scream. We got one more day to get this in. Weather's back to raining again. Right when we get in the car, it's unloading on us again. You know, we're driving back to our room, and we're in so much traffic on SPID in Corpus because it's flooding. I mean, there's, you know, middle wheel depth water all over the roads. I mean, every ditch in the road is actually flowing, moving water like a river. It rained that much in a few hours.
But yeah, it did rain. It rained hard. We got back that night. We were beat.
All right, so one more day, Corpus Christi, to get it done for Project Scream. No more dates for trips available to go do this. Got a new plan ready. We're meeting up with Geoff Austin, Carson Bashaw. They had a tournament going on in Port O'Connor, actually. They were running, so we were just waiting for them to get back to town, waiting for that phone call to see what time we were going to be meeting up in the morning. Ended up not being until later in the day for our meetup. So we're at the room. We got everything scheduled for day 2. What are we gonna do? We're meeting them later closer to noon on Sunday for day 2, trip 2, and Chico just gets super sick, throwing up, just not feeling well, and he's our go-to camera guy, as you guys know. This was weighing heavy on the heads of how we were gonna do this. We told Chico, go to bed. We'll make the most of the morning while we can. You get some rest, and we'll figure it out.
Well, sure enough, something that meal didn't sit well with me, and I had a bad stomach all night. Woke up the next morning very sick, very green. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to move. They went out in the kayaks without me. I figured we're going to meet up with Geoff and Carson. Going to show up here in a little while. We'll meet up with them, get out and see what they got planned. So I said, man, it was dark o'clock. I stayed in bed.
Me and Bo start planning out what we're going to do in the morning with a couple hours. We're going to sleep in for a little bit. 2 trips in the rain and the cold and the wind, paddling miles upon miles, kind of puts a wear on you. So we're going to sleep in to about 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning for Sunday, final day. And we picked 2 or 3 spots that we're going to go try to fish around the hotel. There's some really good spots down there. One being the King Ranch area, and again a long paddle, We're worried about the wind changing direction and making us not be able to get back or meet Geoff and them to get that going. So we threw that out of the question, and we decided just to stick around right there, launch at the marina, go fish around the other side of the docks in the open water, hit a little bit of the shallows, hit some holes, see what we're going to do. So we set the plan in place. Sunday morning, get out for a few hours on our own. We're going to have our own GoPros and camera phones and everything set up, see what we can catch. Good night's sleep in that extra hour or two. We get up, fresh, ready to go. It's final day, we're pumping hard, ready to just kill it, make the whole project worth it in one day, and we're off. And lo and behold, it's still misty, muggy, cold, windy.
Sure enough, it was nasty in the morning. They said they'd go out in the kayak, go out for a little while and see what it was, and I said I'd just wait here.
We're about a good mile from launch, heading towards SPID, the causeway over there, and Bo's waiting at this point. He's got his kayak tied to him. He's waiting, doing the fly rod, throwing some other baits out on the conventional. I'm fishing off in the distance, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a little bit out of this wind, get a little bit more shallower. I want to wait too. I'm tired of sitting in the kayak in the cold. Let's get in the water and walk around, get a little warmed up. Not too sure if this will make any videos, but I pulled up to Bo, about 10 feet away from him or so, and I'm sitting in the kayak and I lean my leg out, see if I can touch, because can't see. It's the water's pretty murky from the weather. I reach my toe out and I feel the ground with my toe. I feel it. It's there. So I go and throw one leg out and put my weight on it when it touches the ground, and as soon as I do, I just sink down to my knee, which made me eat it. Fell out of the kayak, waders filled up with water. Remember, it's cold. I'm freezing, I'm wet, I'm mad. Final day. My waders are soaking wet inside, outside. Those are gonna have to be worn the rest of the day when we get out there. Just not there anymore mentally. And it was like Geoff was in my head, because as soon as I got out of that water and got back in the kayak, I was like, dude, let's go back to the room. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. Geoff calls and he's like, hey guys, I'm a little earlier than I said. Where y'all at? Let's go. I got the boat. We're gonna get y'all on the boat. We can mothership the kayaks if we need to, or we can get out. We told Geoff what happened. I was soaking wet, needed to get some new clothes on, which are going to end up being wet anyways from the wet waders inside. But I wanted to get some new clothes on, so we paddled back to the room. I changed up a little bit. Geoff saves the freaking day.
Sure enough, maybe about 10 o'clock, they come in, and I'm not feeling that great. I am starting to move around, and I find out that Eric's trying to get in his room, and he's soaking wet, shivering. I guess he had turtled the boat. I wish I could have seen it. I wish it had got on film, but we didn't get it on film. Anyways, Eric goes in, cleans off. Soon as Eric's dry and ready to go, Carson and Geoff show up. So here we go, friends. Let's get on this handy boat.
Then this dude pulls up in this freaking huge, nice bay boat, and my levels of energy are skyrocketing at this point, ready to go. No more paddling, no more just bad weather in the kayak. You know, we're on day 4 of 2 trips. 3 of those 4 were just bad, wet, cold, rainy days, and I'm just tired of it. You know, I want to go get on some fish, not have to worry about paddling in the wind, not have to worry about paddling all the way back home at the end of the day, if it was good or not good. We're going to get in the boat, we're going to go to some places we can't reach with the kayak, and we're going to have a blast.
Well, CC Outfitters, man, I can't say enough, man. What a great guide service. So I highly recommend it. It's something to see. That Haney boat is a beautiful boat.
Jeff's putting the boat in the water. We're live on Keep Austin Fishing. We're having a blast. We take off from the marina, and we're going to probably, a good 5-6 miles down the bay, headed towards King Ranch, where we had talked about going the night before, earlier in the morning with ourselves in the kayak, which I'm glad we didn't, because it was a long way, and the wind was pushing against us. We would have probably not made it back until the evening time.
We got in the boat, started heading to south, and I said, "Where are we going?" He goes, "We got a cool place to show you." Sure enough, we go all the way back down into Laguna Madre. It was a pretty good trip, zipping on that beautiful Haney. And next thing you know, we stop. Geoff tells us all of this is the King Ranch shoreline. It's the biggest ranch in America. We're going to fish this area till we get tired of it. And I don't know what time it was, but we fished that area till sunset. King Ranch shoreline. Let me tell you, friends, we got out, they started fishing, I started filming. Again, it's my job to get photos of the people catching fish. I was able to do that because they started getting on some nice trout right away. It was on. We still had pretty strong overcast conditions, but the light for filming was really good, and we didn't have that fog, so I was in.
We get out there, Geoff and them kill the boat, they drop their power poles, they're like, "All right, boys, get in the water, start wading, let's go. And I look at them, I'm like, man, we're like 300 feet off the shoreline. You sure I can touch out here? And it's like, yeah, dude, just jump on in. And Geoff plays around a lot, so I was like, man, I just got dry. I got some dry waders on. I don't know about if I want to jump in. Like I said, we're hundreds of feet, now hundreds of yards off the bank. And I had never fished this part of Corpus before. Most of my fishing in salt was Port O'Connor, so. But he's like, yeah, just jump on off. It's probably, maybe belly button deep right here. I'm like, no way. Jump off anyways, and sure enough, it's belly button deep, and we're in the water. We power pole the boat. Me and Bo, Geoff and Carson, we're all in the water fishing, cutting jokes, having a good time. And it seemed like 5 minutes after being on the water, it was fish on. Bo hooks up with a nice trout. Geoff hooks up with a nice trout. I started catching some trout, and from that first 5 minutes was about the only time somebody wasn't catching a fish. And we were out there from, maybe 10:30, 11 until 5 o'clock in the evening, and the fishing never stopped. And what got my mind was back to that, how far we were off the bank, and we're wading in water. It just blew my mind. Like, I figured it would be really deep there, and it wasn't. It opened my eyes to a lot of different type of wade fishing. Back to catching fish. Seriously, every 2 or 3 minutes it was just fish on for all of us. And I'll tell you, there was not a single undersized trout caught that day, and about 40 to 50 trout caught all day. Probably minimum was 20, 21 inches. We caught some good 24, 25 inch trout all day long. It was great. There was a low point as far as bringing fish to our hands on the hook, and that was just for me and Bo. Geoff was sitting there every cast, just ripping them in, just every cast, making fun of us, talking smack, and we couldn't fish. So I eventually make my way wading and get all next to Geoff and get all cozy with him.
As the sun finally started coming out, a little bit more light, the fishing even got better. They started catching like 24-inch trouts, one by one, and everybody catching them. The fishing got a lot better by the hour.
And I see what he's throwing, and it's kind of similar to what I'm throwing, but a little bit different. And and I'm like, hey dude, let me catch some of those baits you got there. And he's like, boy, man, I don't know if I can give you these are the secret weapon. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I need to get on some more fish. So I sneak him out of his pocket, put him on the hook, and it just started up again. I mean, just every cast for a while, every other cast when it wasn't working out on every cast. And I mean, massive, beautiful trout, big old yellowmouths, nice specks, just huge trout. And for all day long, it was by far my favorite and best day ever in the saltwater. We're getting towards the end of our trip, I'm thinking. So I'm just like burning cast. I don't want to leave. I want to keep catching fish. And I keep walking further and further away because I have this mindset like, if I keep walking further away, they're going to have to go back to the boat. It's going to take them a while. And they're going to have to put along up over to us to pick us up. It's going to take a little bit longer. So what can I do to prolong this day a little bit more?
After we'd been fishing a while, people would take turns coming in with the break and just make sure I had a camera running most of the time, pointed out to the guys. And Geoff comes in and goes, hey Chico, you think this is good? Wait till we get out to the orange barrels. And I'm like, orange barrels? He goes, yeah, you'll see them. So, sure enough, these guys waited. I think we counted. They were waiting for about a 4-mile segment as I just managed the trolling motor on the boat and kept the camera on. Then we finally see the orange barrels. So here we come. We're fishing the barrels. My friends, they weren't kidding. The fishing then got, if it could got better, it did. It was one of those days. The Laguna Madre is epic, and it showed its true colors on that day. Towards the end of the day there, Porter's on some fish, and the guy sees him out in the boat full of people, and sure enough, man, they come and pot-lick him totally. Get right up on him, and we're like, I don't know, I'm probably a 1/4 mile away with the camera on the boat, getting the long shots, and just going, look at these goobies coming in. Sure enough, what's the best thing that happened? Porter picks up another big trout right in front of him. Slam! Gets it, holds it up to us, and then holds it up to them. And they're scratching their heads. But they drifted even closer. When they got closer a second time, he picked up another trout that size. So it was pretty cool. That was pretty cool seeing that happen.
And it worked out. I'm sitting there pretty far away from the rest of the guys. At this point, I'm throwing towards the bank and just ripping. I mean, the last probably 6 or 7 fish I caught were all 24, 25 inch. Then what do you know? Some boat driving by saw me ripping this trout out of the water. And what do? They pull up past me about 100 yards, drop anchor, and start fishing. But you know what I do? I keep making my way to them and just keep ripping fish out right in front of them. They weren't catching anything. It was, Geoff called them out pretty loud, where they could definitely hear it, and then they left. As I'm still catching trout, as Bo's still catching trout, as Geoff is still catching trout. Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those days where it just worked out. It started off real nasty with the weather, and we had some sunlight pop in for about a good 2 hours of the day, which turned on even more bites. And I can't thank Geoff and Carson enough for taking the time to take Texas Fish Command out and show them this immaculate area of water to fish. I mean, there was one point where we were just back to back on fish, and he's like, we're not even to the hot spot yet. And I was like, oh boy. And he went on, where we finished up every day was the hot spot, and that's where those 24, 25 inch fish were just left and right.
But now, the day's starting to go away. It's a wintertime day, so it's 4 o'clock. It's starting to get a little chillier, and it didn't matter. But everybody starts slowly coming back to the boat, and Bo is still out there. And Geoff says, how long does this guy want to fish? And I said, he's going to fish until you tell him he can't fish no more. And that's what happened. Eventually, Geoff said, hey boys, sun's going down. We got to head back. And they got back in. Everybody was bushed. But it was great, a great day. It was really a great day. That was, you know, if you look up an epic fishing day, that's what it looks like in the dictionary.
Sun's kind of going down. It's kind of getting a little dark. It's time to go. We talked about meeting his wife and kid and getting some dinner before we headed back to Austin. I didn't want to leave. Like I said, I kept scurrying along a little bit further. But it was getting there. Geoff came, scooped us up in the boat. He actually had another buddy down a little bit further. We ran over to him real quick, see how his day was going. He caught a lot of reds actually, which is something we didn't have. But again, those tugs and those screams were there with some trout. We head back to the marina. We meet up with Geoff, Geoff's wife, Geoff's daughter, and some other people, and we have a nice sitting down, chat about the day and how freaking epic it was. Again, Texas Fish Command cannot thank Phil, first of all, and then Geoff and Carson after that. I mean, those three guys are the best of the best in the area, and they really showed us the treat of Corpus Christi area and trout fishing for sure. You know, that was a wrap. We got what we came for. It took 4 trips to do it, but we got it on day 4. We got a lot of it semi-done on day 3. Day 1 and day 2 was a bust. So you know, day 4 just made the whole project screen worth it, and I can't wait to get out and do it again.